Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I want to talk about some basics for seed starting your tomatoes indoors. I have other videos that talk to you about how do you set up the starting mix, how do you set up grow lights, how much light do they need. You can check those out for that information. First thing you want to do is get some starting cells. They're perfect for tomatoes. If you're only going to do a couple of seeds, you could just start them right in cups and skip this step. But I do quite a bit, and a lot of people do different amounts of tomatoes and lots of different varieties. Fill your starting mix after you pre-moisten it. This should always be pre-moistened. It comes out of the box dry. You want it pre-moistened. Fill it up to the top. Thumb pack it down real quick. You want a solid starting base. And then go ahead, put it back in your starting mix. Fill it a second time. And now you have a nice stable planting base. I don't typically use fertilizer in here. You can put it in. Just don't overdo it. Just a little bit of fertilizer goes a long way. Once you have your starting mix set up in your cells, I have done a couple different things over time, but you should really start 2 seeds so that you're not waiting around for germination. I did a video that showed you actually you could plant a tomato to here, or down here, and they still grow. So don't stress so much about the depth. I put 2 seeds on top, similar pattern, and I just push them in about 1/4 of an inch. The starting mix is already moistened. These will go into my grow lights. Grow light should stay about 2 inches above your seed starts. And that's how I get mine set up for the year. Once they're growing for about 4 weeks, these tomatoes are being done for an experiment. Usually if you do 2 seeds, it'll look something like this. You can also judge by the root ball. This is about when you want them to be transplanted. It's not so much exactly the amount of time, but once the roots start coiling and showing, you want to transplant them into cups, or you want to cut these down to a single plant. This is how I separate 2 plants. The soil shouldn't be totally dry. It shouldn't be overly moist. And then gently break them apart without tearing the roots. And you can see how long the root system is. That was all coiled up in there. To put them into a cup, I put soil in here. I don't pack it down. Put my finger in it, make a nice circle. Drop this straight down. Bury a little bit of the stem. Shake it in. I press it in. Add in some more starting mix. You don't have to use starting mix either at this point. You could use potting mix. It's a little bit cheaper. Your plants are pretty strong. And you can see, I'm just pressing it in. So it's a nice firm growing base. The stem can be buried. It will root out. But you just want to make sure this growing part, the growing stem, right here above the leaves that first break the soil, this is just above the starting mix or potting mix. And that's a perfectly transplanted tomato. This would go into my grow lights again. Light will stay about 2 inches from there. Now, again, you can plant them spaced out and then divide them like I did, or you can just drop in a couple of seeds, and you're going to have to cut off the weakest one. And that's what I'm going to do with these. By doing that, they'll be able to grow in here for another week or so. That one's bent. I don't want that one. At this point, they're competing with each other for nutrients. And I did a video on when the first true leaves show. That was around February 7th, about 10 days ago. These are already getting fertilized with half-strength liquid fertilizer when I bottom water. So now I'm reduced this down to 1 plant per cell. They can survive in here another week or so. If they were going to go into cups, I just let them grow about this much more and then do the same process that I did with this. And this gets your seeds into the starting cells, gets them growing, gets them set up to be transplanted into the styrofoam cups. And you just want to make sure when they're about this height, you're thinking about getting them transplanted or thinned, because the root systems are starting to fill up the cells. and that's how you can really tell it's time to thin out your cells or transplant them into cups. Hope this gives you an idea of how to take care of your tomatoes, how to start them. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.